Just some Sunday morning thoughts. There's a lot in that question. What does Jesus mean to you? But it's probably the most important question that you'll ever ask yourself, because Jesus is the most talked about person of all time, the most historically documented person of all time. There's been more books written about Jesus, more songs written about Jesus than any other person who's ever lived. And so what you believe about him and who you believe that he was, super important. You know, the Bible says to be ready at all times to give a defense for your faith. And I always kind of have a propensity to go to the historical record when I give a defense of my faith. But you can go many ways. You can use logic. You can use philosophy. But I tend to go that direction because it's this big glaring thing in history. Our calendar's based off of it. Who was Jesus? What does he mean to you? And so when I'm talking to people about their faith, it's always very simple to me. I did this literally 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago. I was sitting next to a gal at a place called the Arctic Club, really cool place in Seattle, and I look over at her, and we got to chatting, and I forget what we said, but I mentioned my church, and she talked about being religious and how she used to be religious and all of these things. I just said, I got to ask you, what do you think about Jesus? It's kind of this big glaring obvious thing that nobody's talking about. It's the quote-unquote elephant in the room, if you will. And she goes, I don't really know. I said, you should take some time and figure that out, because it's the most important thing you'll ever figure out. The Bible's a love letter written to us from Jesus. And the reason that we know the Bible's truthful and believable is because the Bible's a reliable collection of historical documents written by eyewitnesses during the lifetime of other eyewitnesses that depicted supernatural events that took place in fulfillment of specific prophecies and claimed their writings to be divine rather than human in origin. So who is Jesus to me? Well, he represents hope, because I spent the first 10 years of my life thinking I wasn't going to die. It's weird. As a kid, you don't think about it. But as you get older, it starts to dawn on you that, holy cow, I'm mortal. I'm going to die. My consciousness is going to cease to exist. And that's when you start to read about Jesus and go, wow, this guy kind of made some big claims. He kind of claimed that we don't have to die. He kind of claimed that when we die, it's not the end, that we'll live on endlessly. And so people focus on the crucifixion of Jesus. That's why there's crosses on churches. But what we don't focus on is the resurrection. Because after we die and our bodies go into the ground, we will be resurrected, just like Christ was resurrected. Romans 8, baby. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Apologize for the rant. I got a little off topic, but that's a question that if you're going to ask somebody, you better be ready for their answer. God bless.